Where do I begin? The Kozaway route really seems to share a bunch of differing opinions, or it seems to result in very differing opinions on it. By the way, I read them all, and yeah, a large amount of the feelings that some people had were definitely valid. But there was one detail that, because it's left enough of a, it kind of changes your opinion on Misumi as a character. I could almost forgive the lecherous side of him. The player of sorts that's constantly just going after girl after girl. I could almost forgive that. But the fact that I can't tell if it was a delusion or if it was real. Because, look, let's say, okay, let's go with the argument that what was shown about this guy bragging about doing horrible things to Taku's sister, and Misumi just sitting there and watching, or even participating. In the worst case scenario, if that's not a delusion, then there's no forgiving Misumi. There's legitimately no forgiving, and he becomes, even if he stands by and lets this injustice happen, then he is an enabler of that injustice. If we go with the idea that that was not a delusion brought about by Sua and his gang of people, then holy fuck, he deserved to die. But it's almost left ambiguous because I can't confirm or deny whether what happened there was a delusion or not. And that's what makes it so hard for me to render a judgment. Like, it just, fucking hell. That route was just, Christ almighty. Like, now that I've actually had time to kind of sit back and just think about it, like, damn. I mean, I'm not really gonna change my rating, but fucking hell. On the positive, Sua died. Anyway, I do believe it's time for us to get started on the next route, which is the Sena route. And it looks like what I have to do is be neutral on the delusion that says she'd actually swung. Wait, isn't that right here? Hey, it is! Neutral. Alright, here we go. So this is the one where I have to make the choices here. Alright. We didn't have to do jump skips or anything like that for a while. Please let me ogle you more. Oh, by the way, apparently this is the route that was like really, really wanting to be seen. So, all right. Yes. If it's with this girl, I'm willing to get down on my hands and knees and beg with all my heart and soul. Yes. If given the choice, I prefer being stepped on. Fucking hell, man. I hate that these are so degenerate. I've got nothing against a little sword play, if you know what I mean. To a little sword. Oh. For fuck's sake, Taku! She's gonna kill me with that sword either way. No. Alright, soda-flavored Garugari-kun. Discovered Sena's story. Alright, time to skip until we see some new shit. Oh, okay, so this takes place right after we have that conversation with Sena about stuffs. When we were in that train, and we had that big old chain. Okay. A solitary train car stood stock still near Shibuya Station. It was a car that was open to the public, with many referring to it as the Green Frog. Aoi Sena sat inside of it. Biting her thumbnail, she looked out the window and watched the passers-by with disinterest. She and Nishijo Takumi had spoken at length yesterday on this very train, and today she had come here once again. She hadn't gone to school. Attendance was the least of her worries. She was constantly driven by feelings of impatience. As a result, she would often get very irritated with others, leading to her fairly harsh behavior toward them. Ah, your dad. Where are you, Dad? Her voice swelled with hatred, all of it directed toward a single individual. She dug a hand into her uniform pocket and took out a piece of paper. To be fair, she has every right to be pissed. Absolutely every right. She has the IR2 formula! It was a small, crumpled scrap of paper, torn from a memo pad. Written on it was something resembling an algebraic formula. The letters were faded and dull, perhaps due to aging, or perhaps because it had been written in pencil. Only one part remained barely legible, and that was IR2. It was the scribblings of Sena's father from long ago. Needless to say, she did not exactly treat it like a holy artifact. Instead, she simply kept it close so she could always remember the hatred she held for her father. Sena's family was once a happy one. However, the moment her father had scrawled a certain formula onto this piece of paper, slowly, silently, yet certainly, madness began to envelop everything. Yep. Oh. Flashback? Sena's father had once been a corporate scientist. Sena had been just an elementary school student at the time, and while she did not understand the type of work her father did, she knew he was always busy. He was rarely home. Occasionally, he would come home and show his affectionate side, but that almost never lasted even a day. He'd be back to work before anyone knew it. It was not that she disliked her father, but she was a little disappointed to find that she could not think of a single time her family had ever sat down for a meal together. Then came a day about 6.5 years ago, where her father returned home from work. Unlike his usual calm and collected self, he had been brimming with excitement.
Sena, 父さんはすごい発見をしたぞ。これはノーベル賞どころの騒ぎじゃない。
何がそんなにすごいの？
この公式はこれまでの世界の仕組みをも変えるだろう。それほどの大発見なんだ。
As he spoke, he held a memo pad before Sena's eyes. Written on it was the IR2 equation.
ずっと探していたんだよ。父さんではどうしても思いつけなかった。プロジェクトノアは停滞していた。手詰まりだった。だが、この方式があれば、計画は次の段階に進めるんだ。まさかあんなところで見つけるなんて思いもしなかったよ。これはまさに信仰の救いだね。
Ah, fuck.
東京駅だ。たまたま通りかかったんだ。本当に偶然だった。セナは東京駅に行ったことはあったかな。やたら広いだろう、あの駅の構内は。その構内の一角にたくさんの作文が展示されていたんだ。文部省の全国なんとか作文コンクールとか、そんな名前の展覧会だったよ。優秀な子供たちの作文が飾ってあってね。セナ知ってるかい？もしかして応募したりしたかい？
わかんない。多分知らない。
セナが出ればきっとセナも優秀作品に選ばれていたんじゃないかな。
そんなことないよ。私、作文は苦手。
そうか？もっと自信を持つべきだと思うがな。
ねえ、作文がすごい大発見だったんだ。
いやー、違う。そうじゃないんだ。作文なんてどうでもいいんだよ。重要だったのはその裏に書かれていた落書きなんだ。
It's still kind of wild, like listening to. I mean, we've only gotten a few scenes where Hatano actually started to talk, and almost every other time he's had this dead inside delivery, which is, to be fair, considering all the experiments and what happened with his wife and daughter or child. It's no wonder the dude's like dead inside. So it's very bizarre hearing him speak with so much more excitement, so much more life.
そこに飾られていた作文は透明のプラスチックの額に収められていてね、裏側も見ることができた。それは多分演出とかそういうものじゃない。たまたま透明なだけだったんだろうね。きっと主催者には作文の裏の落書きを見せようなんて気はなかったはずなんだ。だからこの公式を父さんが見る確率はそれこそ天文学的数字だったわけさ。これが奇跡というやつなのかな。
公式っていうことは算数なんだね。
ああ、そうだよ。すごく難しい算数だ。
算数で世界を変えられちゃったりするのかな。
Can you really change the world with math?
ああ、変えられるよ。父さんの研究はね、世界を変えることなんだ。
本当？信じられないな。
いつか証明してあげるよ。見ていてくれ、セナ。
It had been over 6.5 years since that day. Gritting her teeth together, Sena shoved the paper back in her pocket. She gazed through the window, her eyes focused on the dull sky above. Undoubtedly, the world would change soon, just as her father had said. Sena's own world had already undergone many drastic changes. Vileness, havoc. Everywhere you looked, you would find more. It had become an unfathomably hideous place.
そんな世界は作らせない。奴を殺して私が止めてやる。
Sad part is your father is not the target of, should not be the target of your ire. There's actually quite a few other people that should be the rightful targets. Anyway, it's time for Yua to jump scare us. Oh, yay, my favorite. Oh, hello, it stopped. All right, here we go. All right. The seventh case. It happened again. Another new gen. How long is this damn thing gonna go on for? Oh my god, deja vu. Was I next? Would I be the victim of the 8th case? The 9th? Anxiety aside, Grim was pretty much the new gen news guy at this point. He'd been keeping me up in the loop about basically everything. Even now, he was going out of his way to link a bunch of blog posts and news articles about it. Seemed like he really wanted me to take a look. Biting my lip, I reluctantly clicked the first link. Yeah, the DQN puzzle. This again. Woo.
今日午前4時50分頃、東京都渋谷区の線路沿いで男性3人の他殺死体が鉄柱に吊り下げられているのを通りかかった新聞販売員の男性が発見しました。警察の調べによりますと、殺されたのはいずれも渋谷区に住む無職藤田康平さん、大学生の安沢三郎さん、とび職の高木亮さんの3人です。3人とも胴体の部分が切断され、それぞれの上半身と下半身が別々に入れ替えられて糸で縫合されていました。3人の額にはそれぞれ謎の傷がつけられており、警察では犯人からのメッセージではないかとみて調べています。渋谷では2ヶ月ほど前から猟奇殺人事件が頻発しており、警察では今回の事件も同一犯による犯行の可能性が高いとみて捜査を続けています。
Oh my god. At the end of the news clip, photographs of the 3 victims were shown. I had seen those faces before.
あいつらだ。
Yeah! It's the people that Kozupi beat the shit out of! She Kozu beat the shit out of them!
昨日僕に絡んできた。
I'd given them my wallet, but they'd kicked my ass anyway. I'd then fallen unconscious, and when I woke up, Kozupi was beside me. The 3 of them had been collapsed on the ground, covered in blood. I dug my wallet out from my pocket and stared at it intently. When I came to, Kozupi had been carrying it, and she'd given it back to me soon after. could the person who killed those three be? No, definitely not. Last time I'd seen them, they'd been beaten to a pulp and covered in blood, but they'd been cut in half they hadn't been cut in half or anything. Which would mean they'd been killed after Kozupi and I had left. It had to have been Shogun. That wrinkly old asshole was trying to provoke me. Damn it, he really was committed to driving me insane. Just how far was he willing to go? I wanted to vomit. I clutched my stomach as it churned in pain. Was I next? Would I be next to die? It was also possible that Shogun could show up in person again. He seemed to be playing with me like it was some kind of game after all. Maybe he'd feel like sending me on another quest soon. Just the thought alone terrified me. I tried to grasp my D-sword, but even that was just to protect myself from him. Without that sword, how could I ever hope to escape his evil clutches? It felt like he was holding a knife straight to my throat, like he was saying, I can kill you whenever I please. Please, just let me go. What had I done to deserve this? I couldn't take it anymore. Someone save me, please. Rimi, where'd you go? Weren't you supposed to protect me? No, I couldn't rely on Rimi anymore. I had even gone to school today just to see her, but she hadn't been there. Almost like she was never there to begin with. So I had to find someone else. Someone else who I could rely on to protect me. And the first person that came to mind was...
お前が望むと望まないとに関わらず、もしこれ以上踏み込んでくるような、負を正にするぐらいの強い意識を持つんだ。中途半端な気持ちじゃ妄想に食われるだけだぞ。
Aoi Sena. Yesterday, when the two of us had gone our separate ways, she'd given me that piece of advice. She definitely knew something. She also had a D-sword. She seemed strong, too. Would she be my savior? Well, if not, I was screwed. I was doomed. I was screwed. I was both. The following day, I made my way to the front of the station. In all honesty, I really didn't want to go back there. After all that traumatic Esper BS, the front of Shibuya Station brought back nothing but bad memories. Adding to my stress, just like usual, there were way too many people. The area around Hachiko was absolutely infested with normies loitering around. Everyone kept glancing at me and sneering as they pointed their phones at me. But when I turned around to look away, my eyes wandered up toward the towering O front, the very building where I'd committed social suicide only a few days ago. Videos covering every angle of that night continued to make the rounds on the internet, and they would likely continue to spread across the world for all eternity. Erasing them was pretty much impossible at this point. I was going to spend the rest of my life as the internet's favorite punchline. I was so frustrated, angry, and sad, it made me want to get as far away from it as I possibly could. But, knowing Shogun would kill me the second I tried to escape, I was forced to painstakingly stand my ground. I cautiously stepped foot into the train carriage known as the Green Frog, trying my hardest to avoid looking at my surroundings. Unsurprisingly, there she sat. Aoi Sena, the train's sole passenger. It took me a minute, but I realized that the reason why no one else was in the car was likely due to Sena's own handiwork. She'd used her gigalomaniac powers, or whatever they were.
お前か。エラーを見つけたのか。
Shaking my head lightly, I handed her the crunchy kun I'd bought in advance from the local convenience store. It was my way of getting my foot in the door. Here, I know it's not much, but I hope you like it. Oh, no, please don't worry about it. Thank you very much. And that's how it would all go. That's how it would go, all according to that stupid-ass Japanese custom. But even though I knew it was idiotic, not even I would stoop as low as to ask for protection without giving something in return. As payment for her services, I would give her 3 crunchy kuns a day. It was an offer even Sena couldn't refuse.
くれるのか。ありがとう。
She accepted it with surprisingly little resistance. Everything was going according to plan.
西条は何味が好きだ？私は断然ソーダ味だな。
Sena excitingly tore open the wrapping and took out the popsicle. It might have just been my imagination, but it almost looked like her mouth had curved into a slight smile. Man, just how obsessed with those things are you? You're practically asking for a stomachache.
僕はコーラ味。
なんだと？コーラ味なんて邪道だ。ふざける。
Ow!
すいません。
I'd made her mad. I thought about telling her off for getting upset over something so trivial, but I figured I'd better keep my mouth shut.
それで
Taking a bite out of her crunchy coon, Sena shifted her probing gaze to me.
私に何か用か？
Protect me! Oh, why'd she have to be so intimidating? The look in her eyes could turn me to stone. All I wanted was to ask for help, but it felt like the sheer anxiety alone was gonna kill me. I was already bad enough at talking to 3D girls as it is. I took a few deep breaths and just barely managed to calm myself down.
僕を助けてほしい。
どういう意味だ？
僕はニュージェネの真犯人に、狙われてる。この前話したでしょ。将軍っていうやつなんだ。僕はきっとそいつに思考盗撮されてる。
思考盗撮か。そいつ何者だ？
知るもんか。僕が聞きたいぐらいだ。
この渋谷で思考盗撮できる連中なんて限られてる。ギガロマニアックスか、あるいは望みの連中か。
Unironically, but this is gonna sound very weird. I love the voice. Out of all of the voice cast that is in this entire thing, there are two voices that I no, three actually. There are, oh god damn it, never mind, four. Fuck. Damn it. The voices for Bon, Takumi, Suwa, and Sena especially. Like those, out of all the voices, those are my favorites.
のぞみ
テクノロジー、プロジェクトノアによって世界を手に入れようとしてる。
I just realized this might be the one route where technically Takumi is going to be able to get the most information out of because of, you know, Sena's first-hand knowledge. What was she on about? It sounded like some kind of conspiracy theory, but could Shogun be a member of that organization?
僕を助けてよ。頼むよ。
I felt myself rapidly sinking further into despair. I wanted something, anything to cling on to, something that would save me. Sena took another bite of her crunchy coon, then furrowed her brow.
言ったはずだ。中途半端な気持ちで踏み込むなら妄想に食われると。お前には覚悟があるか？
ないよ。あるわけないだろ。僕がただ助けてくれって言ってるんだ。こんなのもううんざりなんだ。なんで僕ばっかり。
This is just perfect acting. Sapped of all my willpower, I fell to my knees. Don't do this to me, just protect me. What do you want me to do? I don't want to do anything anymore.
覚悟はなしか。
I felt her cold glare pierce through me. I could clearly tell just how pathetic I was being, so all I could do at that point was hang my head in shame.
だが、その将軍というやつは気になるな。もし望みの人間なら、 ニュージェネ事件も連中が起こしてるということか。だとしたらそれを捨ておくわけには。
With a frown, Sena muttered that to herself as she looked out the window. She seemed to be deep in thought, but she kept chewing on her crunchy-kun regardless. Not longer after I said something, Sena suddenly got up from her seat. She was now standing in front of me.
私に守ってほしいのか。
Damn it! She was always looking down on me. Did this bitch have a dominatrix fetish or something? You're on your knees. She's standing. That has nothing to do with being a fetish. That is literally just the way that the scene is writing itself. Get your mind out of the gutter, Takumi! Despite insulting her inside my head, I gave her a meek nod.
それはつまり、私とお前はこれから行動を共にするという意味だ。それでもいいんだな。
As long as you protect me, anything's fine. Protecting myself from Shogun's attacks was my highest priority right now.
本当に守ってくれるなら文句は言わない。
決まりだ。
Sena extended her hand toward me. I stared blankly at those delicate fingers of hers, unsure of what they were trying to convey. Growing impatient, Sena grabbed my hand and pulled me up. Our eyes met, if only for an instant. Having our gazes intertwine at such a short distance made me frantically avert my eyes. She then let go of my hand.
じゃあ行くぞ。
Nani? And then, as if to spur me onward, turned her back to me.
行くってどこへ？
のぞみテクノロジーの本社だ。
Huh?
これから乗り込む。
Okay, I'm kind of liking this route already. Infiltrate? Like into the enemy base? No. What was that stupid bitch thinking? Did she have a death wish? Oh, this was game over. God, I was such an idiot for thinking I could rely on her. Oh, God damn it. I'm starting to get way too into character to where I'm starting to sputter and stutter and splutter. Like hell I was going anywhere near there. I wanted nothing to do with this. I wasn't the kind of person to just waltz right on into my death. I was the type of person who tells someone, wow, that plan fucking sucks, and then ditch them. Ignoring my look of disbelief, Sena strolled briskly out the door. I, however, meanwhile, stayed right where I was, refusing to budge an inch. Suddenly I realized I could no longer move my arms. I glanced down at my body. Oh my God, is he wrapped up in chains? Fucking knew it. Before I could even blink, a white chain had coiled around my body, and on top of that, it was wrapped around my V very, very tight. Even when I tried to force it off, it refused to budge an inch. What the? How did this happen?
ぐずぐずするな。
Sena poked her head out the window, then urged me to come quickly. I felt the chain wrapped around my body being tugged. I tried to resist, but I no longer had full control over my body. The chain led outside the train carriage and ended when it reached Sena's hand. She was holding it. She was the one pulling me. So this is what queen and slave exhibitionist humiliation roleplay is like. I see. What the Wait, no, it was nothing like that! What the fuck? See, that's my reaction. Oh, God damn it. I was such an idiot for thinking I could rely on Sena. I'd clearly picked the wrong person for this. Oh, someone help me. I can't take this anymore. Hey, your fault. Welcome to the center route, where you're going to be wrapped up in chains. Oh well. Nozomi's main branch was apparently within walking distance of Shibuya Station, but my mental strength had already been completely drained before we even reached it. After all, Sena had been parading me around right smack in the middle of Shibuya. It went without saying that practically every cell phone in existence had been pointed at me. And with that, my dark past had grown even darker. There was definitely a thread about it on that channel by now. Esper Nishijo indulging in puppy play with black-haired Butte and Shibuya. Oh, the D-Quins are never gonna let me hear the end of this. No matter how much I pleaded with Sena, she refused to remove the chains.
今のお前にとって必要なのは目立つことだ。今のところその目的は達成されてるだろ。
You need to, it's imperative that you stand out as much as possible. Okay. She was constantly spouting all sorts of nonsensical reasoning like that. Seriously, what kind of bullshit logic was that? Anzai Sensei, I want to be a man who stands out from the crowd. Had I asked her anything like that? No! No, I fucking hadn't! Anzai? Okay. The coach from a famous basketball manga. On the internet, users parade a certain quote from the manga in order to express a desperate desire, e.g., Anzai Sensei, I want to. Another oft-quoted line, this one spoken by Anzai Sensei, is, if you give up, it's game over. Oh, right. I was also apparently told that new entries are available here because of the D-Sword. So we got D-Sword stuff here. All right, Snowdrop. The excessively violent design of Kozue's sword represents the very soul of Kozue, who has no mercy for those who seek to harm her. Kozue is small and weak, so as a result of her intense desire for the power to protect herself, she materialized a gigantic weapon that was the exact opposite of her physique. In addition to its size, it is specialized for combat. It automatically provides a target based on Kozue's will, then draws the most efficient trajectory to demolish it. This is why whenever Kozue wields the sword, it appears as if the sword is swinging her around. Oh! Oh, that's cool! Dahlia. Oh, like the Black Dahlia. Ayase's D-Sword, with its complete and utter absence of straight lines, represents the true embodiment of chaos. When Ayase materialized the sword, she modeled it after a mythical dragon, which is why the sword takes on a far more organic form than the other D-Swords. The dragon appears in the severed verses of the Lone Black Knight, a part of the Gladule saga in which one of the Black Knights slays a dragon, then forges a sword from its bones. Oh, I love this stuff. This is great. To be precise, it is not Kusanagi Yua who wields this sword, but Kusanagi Miya. It is characterized by the red petals that dance in the air whenever it is real-booted. This symbolizes the complex Miya held with her sister Yua, where she felt as if Yua had everything she lacked: elegance, femininity, and kindness. There's a Japanese phrase that reads, "falling as flowers do," that is used to reference those who die young, often in battle or in some other tragic manner. As per this phrase, Miya's sword also symbolizes her deep mourning for her sister's death, for her own erasure of the existence known as Kusanagi Miya, and the repose of both of their souls. Wow! Damn. Okay, we got two more here. Akhenaten. The memory of her bangle, the symbol of her love for her brother, taken shape as a blade. That is Nanami's D-Sword. Influenced by her strong desire to not let anyone else have it, even the hilt itself is made of blades. This makes it impossible for even other Gigalomaniacs to hold or wield the sword. Oh, that is amazing! I love that detail. Gentiana Scabra. Oh my god, his! Oh, this bastard! Okay. Having lived more than twice as long as the 7 other Gigalomaniacs, Norose's D-Sword has evolved into a far more brutal, distorted form in proportion to the amount of time he has lived. The reason why Norose's D-Sword has taken on such a hideous form, even without the crucial afflictions, is because it is a manifestation of his negative emotions, and at the root of those emotions are his warped beliefs and sense of justice, his desire to rule over the weak, and his hatred for the world. The fact that these things even have names... that's amazing. Wow. Cool. Strolling right into the enemy base. What the hell was she thinking? We could be killed at any moment. Completely ignoring my complaints, Sena casually entered the fancy building, dragging me right along with her. After all, the chain had given me no choice in the matter. The grandeur of the expansive lobby standing before me took my breath away. It does look nice. The Nozomi Group. It apparently became one of Japan's leading conglomerates. A place like this was so far removed from the life of a student like me, it felt like a completely different world. And we all know what a conglomerate is. A large corporate entity formed by the repeated merging of companies from various industries that are not directly related. They manage a wide range of industries, blah-de-da-de-da. I'd never set foot in a building quite like it before. The size of the lobby, the practical enshrinement of the hot grills at the reception desk. I had to take a moment to breathe. There's no... Oh. Took me a minute to realize what you were referring to. Wait. We were in a company workplace. Shouldn't it have been off limits to unauthorized personnel? Both Sena and I were wearing sume uniforms, so we were very obviously high school students. Not only that, but I was wrapped up in a chain too. We were practically screaming that we were intruders. For Sena to disregard this and enter the building like she owned the place, I began to doubt her sanity. The moment we entered through the automatic doors, I made eye contact with one of the receptionists.
帰ろうよ。
I was hesitant to go any farther than we already had, but Sena didn't stop moving.
心配するな。
We moved past the reception desk and headed toward the elevator in the back, and nobody had said a word to us. What the hell? Sena didn't go to the elevator, though. Instead, she chose to go for the fire escape near the hall. Beyond the door was this dimly lit emergency staircase, and that was where she finally stopped.
周囲は私たちを望みの社員だと思い込んでる。
Oh, did you use your delusions to make that happen? Suddenly, before I could even blink, the pressure on my body disappeared. When I looked down, I saw that the chain around me had vanished without a trace, and the next thing I saw was the D-sword in Sena's hand. Was that chain just a delusion Sena had real booted using her gigalomaniac powers? So, Sena had sent antiparticles into my dead spots, this time making the real booted chain instantly disappear?
望みの社員と思ってるってどういう？
そう思い込ませた。肉眼で私たちを見た人間全員にな。
Nice! You're really good at this. She'd made them. She could do that? Sena then looked up at the top of the staircase. Something resembling a surveillance camera was installed there. It had a red light affixed to it, and it let out an eerie sound as it surveyed the room.
監視カメラにも思い込ませることってできるの？
やろうと思えばできるかもな。試したことはない。それにやる必要もない。
なんでバレちゃうじゃないか。ありえない。スニーキングミッションでは監視カメラを最初に壊すでしょ。常識的に考えて。
Right. That is true. Fancy that a stealth mission is here. A type of level often seen in various action games. The goal is to infiltrate enemy territory, achieve an objective, then escape, all without being detected. This type of mission has become so prevalent in modern games, it is considered its own genre. Also known as sneaking missions in a certain tactical espionage action series. Well, everyone who played a video game before, at least.
言っただろ。お前が目立つことが必要なんだ。
And that's what exactly I don't get! Aren't you contradicting yourself? You made them assume we're Nozomi employees in order to camouflage us. But then you turn around and say, you need to stand out? Which is it? What exactly are you trying to do? All everyone ever does is speak in riddles. Do you all think I'm an idiot or something? What? Do you all think to yourselves, even if I try to explain, you won't get it? You are, aren't you? Fuck you! Ah, damn it. I'm smart, people. My IQ is absolutely higher than Sena's, no doubt about it. As I bit my lip in frustration, Sena took off on her own up the stairs, leaving me behind to continue seething. Did this girl have an actual interest in protecting me? No, she didn't. After all, she already put me in harm's way by dragging me into this building! But regardless of her intentions, I just wish she'd stop rushing ahead on her own. She could at least tell me where she was going and what she was trying to do. Just give me some sort of explanation, please! Why were we using the staircase instead of the elevator anyway? I sucked at exercising.
エレベーターに乗るのは自殺行為だ。
Sena's voice rang out from above me. Has she just read my mind again? With a sigh, I started heading up the stairs toward her voice. She's getting good at this. Sena was waiting 2 stories above me. As soon as I caught up, she started climbing again.
敵の本拠地でエレベーターに乗ったら閉じ込められて身動きが取れなくなるのがオチだろ。
それはそうだけど。
I mean, yeah.
それより西条、将軍について教えろ。そいつはいつからお前を攻撃するようになった？
1ヶ月ぐらい、前から。
話したことがあるんだな。
When I nodded in response, Sena stopped dead in her tracks and looked down at me from a few stairs above. I can see your panties from this angle, Sena-san. I averted my eyes out of reflex.
どんなことを言っていた？
A lot of things. I took a moment to tell Sena about everything Shogun had set up to that point, as well as the fake kidnapping he'd staged to try and scare me.
畑野という名前に聞き覚えは？
Hatano?
ないけど。
Oh, we know who that is.
将軍が言っていたかもしれないだろう。よく思い出せ。
Hatano. I'd never heard the name before.
誰？
Or is it Hatano? It might be Hatano.
プロジェクトノアに関わっていた男だ。
I didn't know him. I didn't even know what Project Noah was.
そうか。知らないなら別にいい。
Sena turned away in a huff and resumed her climb in silence. Yeah, I figured as much. We can't really help her with that.
まだ。
You know, the funny thing is we might just be in that SCP that's a staircase. Endless staircase. We'd gone up at least 20 stories with next to no breaks. I'd probably never climbed so many stairs in my entire life. I was exhausted. I don't want to climb anymore. Sweat trickled down my forehead, stinging at my eyes. I wiped it off over and over again with my hands, but it continued to bead no matter what I did. My legs felt heavy. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was going to suffocate. You aren't complaining a lot. I planted my hands on my knees in an attempt to catch my breath. Drops of sweat fell from my face and dotted the floor.
あと、どれぐらい登るの？
社長室は最上階にあるらしい。31階だ。
Floor 31. 10 more floors to go. Hold on, why was I even going along with this in the first place? All I'd done was ask Sena to protect me, so why was this happening to me? Nara... Face appeared in the back. What? P. Ulnarif's face appeared in the back of my mind. What the fuck is that? Is that a reference I don't get? Whatever. My heavy breathing reverberated throughout the quiet staircase. Surprisingly, Sena didn't try to go on ahead after I caught up this time. Instead, she leaned against the wall and stared at me with a blank expression on her face. Seemed like she was finally letting us take a short break. Mounted above Sena was another one of the security cameras. They were installed on every floor. There was no way they hadn't found out that we'd been climbing the staircase by now. Security guards could arrive at any moment.
監視カメラに細工をしなかったのは？
And she's a mind reader. Suddenly, Sena began to murmur something.
将軍がもし望みの人間でこのビル内にいるならおびき寄せることができるかもしれないと思ったからだ。
Oh no.
つまり、僕はおとりってわけ？
Yes, I am.
そういうことになる。
Okay, she just... Okay, fair enough.
もともと望みになんか興味はなかったんだけどな。このビルに乗り込むことにしたのだってイレギュラーだ。もちろん、いつかはプロジェクトノアを潰そうとは思っていたが、それは今じゃない。 それよりも優先しなくちゃいけないことがあった。
I have to kill my father. She become awfully talkative all of a sudden. Was she finally going to explain why we were here? But Sena didn't reveal what that something else was.
お前の話を聞く限り、その将軍は何かを知ってる。あるいは、旗野のことも。
For a split second, her face stiffened upon saying that name. Were they really that terrible of a person? Well, would you like to hear the story about a mom that ate her child?
安心しろ、西条。これは交換条件だ。お前におとりになってもらう代わりに、私はお前を守る。それにお前だって、将軍の正体を知りたいだろ。脅威を排除するには、こちらから攻撃。
Uh-oh. Sena abruptly stopped. She then frowned, stepped away from the wall, and readied her gigantic D-sword. Right in the middle of this narrow, cramped stairway.
どうしたの？
Sena didn't answer. She peered down the stairwell and then up, only to freeze in place.
この声、どこから？
A voice.
お前、何者だ？
She suddenly shouted. I thought she might have been shouting at the security camera, but her gaze was directed farther upward, toward the ceiling. It couldn't be. I had a bad feeling about this. Unable to resist the bait, I looked up at the ceiling. Naturally, there was nothing there. Oh shit! It's one of those reactor things. After all, I couldn't hear the voice, but I had a good idea of what it was. Shogun. He was reading our minds using some satellite way up in the sky, and he was making Sena hear some kind of voice.
セナ、その声を聞いちゃってダメだ。セナ！
I promptly grabbed a hold of her shoulders and shook her.
将軍は望みの人間じゃないらしい。
I was right! She had heard Shogun's voice!
騙されてる。あいつは敵だよ。信じちゃダメだ。
音だ。
My hands were still gripping her shoulders. She responded by grabbing my wrists tightly. Her nails dug in deep, shooting pain throughout my entire body. My face twisted.
西条、音がしている。気をつけろ。
A flash of light burst into my head, and from that light an image came forth. A dark room, a puddle of blood staining the floor. A modern art piece resembling that of a crucifix. Someone was bound there, with their head lifelessly hanging down, their clothes stained in blood, their right hand cruelly severed. I'd seen it. I'd seen it clearly. That was, without a doubt, Nanami.
ナナミがこのビルのどこかに。
She had been kidnapped by Shogun! Her wrist. That wasn't a delusion, it was real! I had to find her. I wasn't able to save her before, and now Sena was suffering too. So I had to find her. This time for sure, I had to do something!
落ち着け、西条。これは罠の可能性が。
さっき君だって将軍の言葉を信じたじゃないか。
I violently shook Sena's hands off of me. The presidential office was on the 31st floor.
違う。音を聞け。将軍の干渉とは別の妄想だ。
I ignored her and sprinted up the stairs. This was no time to complain about my exhaustion. I was desperate. Nanami was suffering and it was my fault. It was all my fault. I'd failed her back then. I'd run away. She must resent me. Forgive me. I'm a pathetic excuse for an older brother. Damn it, I wanted power. I wanted a D-sword like Sena's. Why? Why couldn't I get my hands on one? It was all I asked for. Nanami, don't die. I'm begging you. Oh my god, the head office. I made it to the giant 31st floor, and there was only one entrance to it. Wasting no time, I flung it open and dove straight through. And just like that, I was in the very same room that I saw in the vision. Several monitors hung from the ceiling, each displaying the word Nozomi on a white background. I looked all over for Nanami. The room was so dark I couldn't make anything out clearly, but...
Nanami.
There were no signs of life. No movement, no breathing. Nothing at all.
西条
Chasing after me, Sena flew through the open door. She forcefully grabbed my hand.
今すぐ出るぞ。これは罠だ。
だって、ナナミが。
聞こえないのか、この音が。
Oh shit. Suddenly, the door that we'd left open slammed shut all on its own. The room grew even darker.
しまった。
Sena ran to the door and wrestled with the knob, but it refused to budge. Then the outline of the D-sword in her hand suddenly faded to nothing. It was almost as if it had completely dissolved.
閉じ込められた。
だったら、力を使えばいいじゃないか。
うまく妄想できない。
Not with this sound, interrupting us. Sena's face twisted. She rubbed her temples and weakly shook her head. I was getting a headache. I only noticed it when I regained my focus. It wasn't severe by any means, but the minor faint pain. It seemed to reverberate from the very center of my head. An ache that throbbed and throbbed and throbbed. I feel kind of lightheaded. Nanami, where are you? Is this one of Shogun's traps? Is Shogun my ally? What kind of company is Nozomi Technology? Sena has such small really. Who's Hatano anyway? Weird. I'm losing my train of thought.
バイオ周波数攻撃を受けているぞ。
The display on two of the monitors overhead suddenly changed. In place of the Nozomi logo, the faces of two middle-aged men appeared, one on each monitor.
まったく最近の若者は恐れ知らずだな。もちろん悪い意味でだが。
Oh, those old fucks.
いかにもおそらく井ノ原先生が推進したゆとり教育の産物だろうね。
私はただ300人委員会のプランを実行したまでだな。世界人間牧場計画の一環としては悪くないプログラムだったよ。
What's going on? Who are these people?
それを潰したのも井ノ原先生だというのがなんとも滑稽なところだよ。300人委員会も予想外だっただろうね。
私と倉持先生の野心も知らず、のうのうと世界を牛耳っているつもりなのだろうが、そんな連中に対するある種の宣戦布告だったんだよ、あれは。
世界を掌握するのに300人も必要ない。我ら2人で十分なのだからね。
What were those two talking about? Then Raiza was thinking that the two men on the monitors turned their stares to me.
それにしてもノロセが言っていた通りだったね。まさかここまで馬鹿正直に網にかかる者がいたと。
1週間も放置しておけば衰弱してろくに抵抗もできなくなろう。それから拷問ショーとし しゃれ込もうではないか。
旗のセナはすでにコードサンプル取得済みと資料にはある。
Hatano Sena. Who is that?
洗脳を施した方が良さそうだ。我らの兵士とし。
兵士兼慰み者だな。ギガロマニアックスの少女を奴隷とするなど、実に気分が良さそうではないか。
I would say that this is too like this is comically evil, but let's not talk about US politics right now.
井ノ原先生もお好きだね。
ではギガロマニアックスの諸君、監禁生活をせいぜい楽しみたまえ。
1週間が経つ頃にはプロジェクトノアにより世界は大きく変わっていることだろう。その変革の瞬間を見ることができない君たちに同情するよ。
The old men disappeared from the monitors, and the room was covered in darkness once again. It had been a trap. It had all been a trap! To think 2 grown men, one of which I was sure was a member of the House of Representatives, would join forces just to trap some random otaku freak like me. This couldn't be real. It had to be a fucking joke! Nanami wasn't here. She had to be in prison somewhere else. I felt absolutely pathetic for playing right into their hands. If I'd have known this would have happened, I would have just listened to Sena.
衆議院議員と天聖振興会の教祖が300人委員会の一員だったとはな。
Sena slammed her shoulder against the entrance again and again, but it refused to give in. It had probably been locked from the outside, and seeing as it was extremely sturdy, trying to bust it open was likely impossible.
300人委員会
If I remembered correctly, wasn't that the name of that organization which occasionally popped up in conspiracy theories? Did it actually exist?
よく考えてみればそれも納得だ。もともと沈黙の兵器の理論を作ったのは300人委員会なんだからな。
さっきのおっさんたちが言ってたプロジェクトノアって何？
Having given up, Sena stepped away from the door in defeat. She surveyed the dimly lit room with a sullen expression.
のぞみテクノロジーが進めている沈黙の兵器開発計画だ。
沈黙の兵器？
一言で言うなら広範囲に作用するマインドコントロール装置だな。思考統率、視覚投影、五感制御。肉体的には損傷を与えることはない。音もないし、色もないし、匂いもしない。目にも見えない。だが確実に多くの人の精神をゆっくりと静かに汚染していく。誰にも気づかれないまま攻撃は完了しているんだ。
まるでギガロマニアックスの力みたいじゃないか。
当然だ。沈黙の兵器はギガロマニアックスを人工的に生み出そうという考えから始まったんだからな。
Right. Makes sense. It was also insane that it didn't even feel real. But in the end, that was just the way things were. I was no hero. Even if I was told that an insane conspiracy such as that was true, and it was currently unfolding in Shibuya, I wouldn't feel the slightest urge to stand against it. Even if I were to go out and fight, I wouldn't be able to help anyone. I'd just leave it to someone who was actually useful. Maybe, just maybe, the new gen incidents, as well as the endless string of bizarre events that have been plaguing me, were all related to this Project Noah. If that was the case, I would need to leave Shibuya as soon as possible in order to protect myself. All I wanted was for Nanami to be safe, me to be safe, and for us to live in peace. That was all I wished for. For that to happen, I need to find a way out of here. I couldn't stand the thought of being stuck in a place like this for upwards of a week, especially when there being no sign of any food or water anywhere. Oh, so that's what those old guys have been talking about. If we didn't eat or drink for an entire week, we'd inevitably start to break down. Worst case scenario, we could even die.
セナ、なんとかここから脱出する方法を考えてよ。
扉は開かない。
Sena looked utterly exhausted.
ディソードは
なぜか出せなくなった。力を封じられたか。沈黙の兵器で攻撃されているぞ、西条。
A silent weapon attack? The hell? Are you saying there's no way out? Sena, with a look of pure exhaustion, slumped down to the floor.
大丈夫？
そう。体がだるい。それになんだか妙な気持ちだ。胸の奥が締め付けられるような。
Her breathing shallow, Sena undid a few buttons of her uniform. Even in the dark, I could see that her skin was drenched in sweat. Despite our situation, I found myself getting flustered. Come to think of it, it did feel pretty hot in here.
なあ、水を持ってないか？
Of course I didn't! But I was getting thirsty too, and fast. The thought of spending a full week in this heat without a drop of water made me feel utterly hopeless. Okay, so I see. So this silent weapon attack is also making them feel extremely hot. So it's not only going to be a week of no water and no food, they're also going to be like in a temperature that their body is going to burn more what extra energy, even if they're sitting down, what excess calories they are. They're basically drying them out to make them as weak as humanly possible. Sena was staring fixatedly at me. I knew there was no way I'd be able to maintain eye contact with a 3D girl, so I desperately looked away, but I could still feel her gaze piercing through me. Don't look.
水はないよ。
When I answered, I took a quick glance at Sena. Our eyes met. Hold on, what was up with those shimmering eyes of hers? She almost looked like a love-struck maiden or some shit. Well, I was both a virgin and never had a girlfriend before, so I didn't know if that actually happened in reality. Panicking, I turned my back to Sena and gulped down my building saliva.
おかしい。気をつけろ、西条。感情を操作されているかもしれない。
Yeah, that's basically what's going on.
え、それってどういう？
お前を見ていると切ない気持ちになってくるんだ。くそ、ふざけた攻撃を。
So the attack involved making Sena feel like she'd fallen in love with me. Or could it be that she'd already had feelings for me to begin with? Yeah, no way in hell. Use your brain, Takumi.
感情を操作って一体どんな仕組みで？
人の感情なんて結局脳を流れる電気信号でしかないんだ。その電気信号に干渉する技術は世界中で研究されてる。案外とっくに実用化されてるかもしれない。ましてや沈黙な兵器ノア2なら造作もないことだ。分かっただろう。世界は電気仕掛けだ。私が言った意味が。
Does that mean it's like a program? Lines of ones and zeros? It'd be incredibly easy to tamper with something like that. It's a scientifically proven fact that electronic signals run through our brains. So in reality, not only our emotions, but both the mind and the soul are reducible to mere electronic signals. Wait a second, that's no different from 2D, is it? For example, let's look at a heroine from an eroge. Lisa-Lot from ESO. The anime version of Serotan and Sena. What's the difference between the four of them? If what Sena says about everything in the world being an electronic device is true, then there are no differences. They're all the same. Mere electronic signals running through a device. I felt like I finally, albeit vaguely, understood why Sena had used the word error. If all of that was true, then this Noah 2 weapon would be like some super deadly virus or someone using cheats in order to PK. Not even Neidhart could win against those kinds of people. And not only that, but compared to Neidhart, I was a ridiculously shitty playable character. So in the end, being trapped here and starving to death like a pathetic loser, well, that was a pretty fitting game over for me.
僕が悪いんじゃない。死亡フラグ立てまくってる。僕の中の人が悪いんだ。
I'm not the one in control of your actions. I'm just playing through them. Don't blame me. Cradling my head, I curled into a ball. Well, I feel like shit.